Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Oh, give me a sec. All right. Let me adjust the camera real quick. All right. I think we're ready. To do this. First, as usual, let's check audio on platforms. Let's check stream, Twitch. Twitch is all right. How about YouTube? 1 2 1 2 YouTube. Hello, hello. Okay, we got YouTube on the lockdown. Nice, nice, nice. Toby is here. Hi, Toby. Boo. Oh my god. What a Halloween way to welcome someone. Hi, Toby. How are you doing? How is your Klingon virtual machine going? What kind of challenges right now are you working on? Today's stream will be getting back to design and prototyping of a game. On the last stream for this series, I was trying to create like a way to create a flamethrower, kinda sorta very arcadey flamethrower, and I think I made about it into way more simi way, which basically, maybe at first, let me show you why it doesn't work, and then let me tell you what I think I'm gonna do. Toby says school is too distracting at the moment, so didn't work on it. Ah, okay. Fair point. I understand that completely. Life can take your time from all the other things, right? Is this like a moment of like exams or something right now at school, or just a regular same old? So let me quickly play this. The idea is I have this wind propeller that one day I will create visuals for, right? And this red box, Sion! Hey, nice to have you here, my friend. How are you doing? How is your health? How are you hanging out? And how is the Sunday treating you today? I'm still getting out of the, funk of the infection. This goddamn cough doctors say it will stay with me for a couple of weeks. Yay! Don't get sick, people. Toby says, I may have ditched school for a week and might need to catch up. Although from what I've been told, not much happened. Ah, okay. Sure. Sure. Ain't nothing wrong if, you can easily catch up, right? Sure. I'm glad to have you guys here. Yeah, so I have this propeller. It produces wind. You cannot see this right now, but believe me. And I have this red box that whenever it is attached to something, it can rotate it, right? Rotate the thing that it is attached to. And we have the fully grown flame. The idea is that if the wind propeller, its wind, touches the flame, fully grown flame, because our flame in this game works in such way that it starts small, grows, and until it grows to like fully grown flame, and that's where it can be more interactive, right? So if the wind touches the big flame, fully grown flame, it should produce like a flamethrower, which in turn could, for example, melt certain things. For example, it could melt steel. That's like the idea behind that, right? But the current implementation, I went about it a little bit too simulation, right? Because in my game I have like a quasi very bad and arcadey but flame propagation system. If a spark falls on the flammable surface, it will grow until, you know, it will try to spawn other sparks. If they land on non-flammable surface, nothing happens. If they land on flammable surface, it will try to it will stay there and will try to propagate further, right? So I wanted to produce these sparks, but the way I implemented it created an error. It spawns thousands upon thousands of sparks actors, and I have a huge frame drop, right? And it's all on CPU, so it's all connected to like spawning, right? And I thought about it and I felt like, well, I think I'm going way too overboard with that, way too simulation like. Why do I need spark when I can just create like a tube that if it touches something it will start melting it, and that's it, and this tube can rotate or something. So I will create another prototype from flamethrower today, and hopefully I will be able to tackle other flame mechanics that I planned for this game. Sion answers about how he's doing. Just chilling, taking a break from BF6. Oh, you played BF6? How is it? How do you find BF6? How do you like it? And then Sion continues. Oh, and a little better. Still a bit sick from infection. I feel you, bro. I feel you. I also getting out of the funk. And yeah, gonna have a cough for some time. Yeah, same thing. Probably got the same virus. It's going around, right? Good health to you, friend. And may you be healthy as well. You and your whole family. Toby says, the rule says I can miss out 5 days per month without needing a doctor's note. So you better believe I'm gonna use them. That's awesome. I'll be honest. That's really freaking awesome that your school allows for that kind of rule. At my school, when I was going to like high school, I one time may have, you know, skirted out of the one final class at the end of the day because I just wanted to get home quicker. I just couldn't be bothered. And they called my parents. My parents were calling me. We had like a taking and talking to, and I was like, what the fuck? We just left at the last hour. Nothing fucking happened. So in my opinion, your school is doing it right. Like every student should have something like this. Like, hey, you can miss out 5 days a month, no questions asked. Just be sure to catch up. Great fucking deal. Great fucking deal. I wish I had that growing up. Sion says, been a while since I've been here last time. I see you doing amazing stuff. Oh, thank you. Last time I was checking out preview of 5.7, and I don't remember if you were here when I was attempting level design. I had, I think, 2 streams connected to that, or maybe 1 stream. I don't remember. 1.5, and I sucked at it. I not only realized that I am way underprepared to make levels, but also I don't have enough design space. I don't have enough mechanics. So, you know, that's what we'll be doing, adding a little bit more mechanics. Not too much to the toy box, but at least enough that I could craft a level with, right? So yeah, that's what's going on. Toby says, you need to announce you'll be missing. Yeah, sure. That makes sense, that in your school you have to announce that you'll be missing, and you can then, no questions asked, be you know, left to your own devices. Kinda prepares you for work, because at work you also kinda can be like, hey, I need to take a couple of days off, and you need to announce that stuff, right? So I think that's great. Sion, how is the Battlefield 6? I haven't had time to play it, and I'll be honest, I probably won't check this out because I don't have time for that, unfortunately. But I am curious, how do you find it? I'm especially curious about your opinion, knowing, you know, your chops with multiplayer games, how you used to play them, etc. And how you like shooters. I'm really curious. Okay, so first of all, let's disconnect the previous way of creating flamethrower, which I kind of don't remember how it worked, but we will try to reverse engineer it, because, and here's a quotable. Here's a quotable for y'all. That's why you leave comments in your scripts or your C++ code. That's why you take care to document everything inside of your code and script in such way that it is not too much of comments, and you're writing your lines and building your pipeline, etc., in such a way that if you revisit it later, you are able to kinda quickly get around, like, hey, how the fuck did I build this? And the quotable would be that even if you're a solo dev, you are still working in a team with your past and future self, right? So be kind to yourself. And let's see if I was kind to myself when I was building this flamethrower thingy. Toby says, the previous year the rules were even looser, but probably someone was abusing it. Ah, yes. It's the tale all this time. You have like rules of freedom, everyone is enjoying it, then it takes a couple of jerks that are abusing it, and instead of punishing those couple of jerks for abusing it, the rules are changed for everyone. So the group, how is it called? The group responsibility is a thing, right? So yeah, that always sucks. Sion says, Battlefield 6 is a solid game. The multiplayer is really good and addictive. Oh! Nice to hear that, because I think the last couple of Battlefields kinda sucked, right? So it's great to hear that, you know, they bounced back. And how's the bots cheating situation, right? Like, are they there day one and they are annoying, or is still like okay right now? Okay, so what I remember, I have interface for wind interaction, right? So I should probably search for the function with the wind interaction, right? And we are propagation direction. And if we have fully grown flame, yes, that's where I spawn my projectiles. So if I disable that fragment of a script, I should be able to... Yep, it is turned off. And now I can plug in new way of doing this. Toby says, well, hard to punish someone if they are technically following the rules. Yep, that's true. That is true. That is something that I, through my whole life, was pondering. Like, it's awesome to have like the rules of freedom and being allowed to do lots of stuff, but then there are always the abusers. It's hard to punish them for abusing the rules if they are technically following them. So it's easier to create like a new rules that are a little bit more, you know, restrictive. But it kind of sucks that everyone has to be punished by the actions of only a couple of individuals, right? But that's also how the law has been made, right? So I think it is our human condition that, and civilization, that's kind of how it is, right? The rules happened for a reason, right? But it always irked me, like, man, couple of assholes and we all have to do like some weird shit because we have common sense and they don't. But, well, yeah, sometimes rules need updating, right? But, you know, this could be like a whole philosophical discussion. Pardon me if my voice sounds weird from time to time. I'm still, as I said, recovering. Thank you, Toby, for that DM. But that's exactly right. That's. Can I share what you sent me? That is like, oh, no, maybe I shouldn't share it because my fucking whole stream can be flagged for that. But yeah, Polish and Czech languages has false friends that are in the language that are having such a meaning that is hardcore. Toby said, yeah, okay. Yeah, you sent that. Oh, and I sent you a joke on DC that I learned, Discord, that I learned among my Polish friends. There are two sentences basically sounding the same, but meaning very different things in Slovak. Yes, in Slovak this as well. Yes, this is the sentence that means something different in Slovak, Czech, and Polish. And that is true. And let me just maybe show you. Hope my stream won't get taken down. The sentence in Polish "Szukam dzieci w sklepie" means I'm looking for children in stall, and in Slovak "Szukam dzieci w sklepie," which sounds the same, means something completely different. And I won't say it out loud because the stupid fucking algorithms will fuck me over, but you saw that. Yep, and that is 100% right. I remember when I was like at some vacation when I was kid, like I used to go to those camps, sport dancing camps, and I think for like we were near the Slovakia border, so we one time went for like a trip there, and we went to a small store, convenience store, and I was searching for the shopping basket, right? And I said in Polish, "Szukam koszyka," which, as you saw from the joke, would probably mean I'm fucking baskets. And the lady looked at me like, what? And I showed her like, I want to, pack things, etc. Like, started, showing my hands. And she was like, oh, Polaks, right? Polish. Okay. And she like, but her first, her first reaction was, what the fuck? Toby says, actually, it might be even closer with pronunciation in Czech, right? Yeah, it might be, yeah. Yeah, but that's what I heard from and read on the internet, that when you're in Slovakia or Czechia, and you're Polish, you should never search for anything. You should never say, szukam czegoś. Okay, so let's start plugging in. Let's start plugging in our new functionality. Basically, fire related. Let me create like a new. Let's first create an actor that will be representing the flame spiral, flame cylinder, or whatever in a flamethrower, right? Because it will be, appearing spontaneously, and it will be showing up until the wind stops, I think, interacting with the fully grown flame, and it itself has to interact with, for example, steel, right? Toby says, during my time in Poland, I thought it was always funny when they were searching for anything. I bet when, yes, I bet. It is funny that when people from Slovakia are going to Poland, they are always, chuckling a little bit, hearing Polish language, and vice versa. When we go there, when we go to Slovakia, we also like having a little bit of laugh. I think it's kind of charming that our languages have like those opposite things that are extremely funny to us. I think it's awesome. Although it might lead to misunderstandings. Also, I remember like there was like a big fire, and I don't remember if it was in Slovakia or Czechia, but our Polish firefighters near the border went there to helped and came back, and I think the local city or something thanked the Polish firefighters, and they said something like, dziękujemy, dobre z was frajery, which I guess means you are good guys, you are good fellas, etc. While in Polish, word frajer means something completely different. And at first, Polish firefighters were like, what the fuck, we helped you and now you're like attacking us? And they were like, oh no, sorry, we didn't know that frajer means something completely different in Polish. Dobby says, I actually love Polish. When I was younger, I used to watch a lot of Polish YouTubers. Oh, that's nice. Which one was your favorite? I wonder. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, our countries have a lot in common. We could just sit down and talk for ages about that stuff. Okay, let's create... Sorry for that. Let's create an actor and it will be called BP Flame Cylinder, because there technically might be more things that are working like a flamethrower. Or maybe I would want to put like some perpetual flame cylinders in some places. I don't know. Let's call it just a flame cylinder base. Because I might... The idea is always to create like a base class, and then children classes are just changing the data. Changing the variables, animations, visuals, etc, etc, while all of the logic sits in the base class, right? So here we have our flame cylinder base. First of all, let's add like a cylinder. And let's rotate it in such a way that it should always be pointing in the x-axis, which is red axis in Unreal. Boom, it's done. And let's elongate it a little bit, shall we? Like, let's make it because it... Yeah, let's make it a little bit smaller, probably. And oh no. Let's unlock the axis. Maybe no. Let's quickly make it like that. And then unlock the axis. And I guess I should make it like this. And actually, I want the pivot to be... Oh, no. I want the pivot to be like here. So when I will be spawning things, the pivot of the whole actor will be like here. Let's see if that will work. Right now I'm just trying to remember, apart from being in Slovakia at the summer camp, was I ever there again? I might have some memory, but it might be a false memory of being to Bratislava. But is it false? I don't remember. I have like some memory from being a kid there, and it probably changed a lot since I was a kid, so I need to revisit Slovakia. Okay, so we have that. We can like use just red. Do I have just red? Yeah, I have just red material. Just to show off that maybe it is a flame or something like that. It should be actually even more elongated. And probably semi-transparent if I'm being honest, but whatever. At least whatever for now. Okay, unit. Let me turn snapping off. I want to make it like left. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Okay, I aligned it nicely. Perspective. Okay. And should I make it even longer? Yeah, I should make it longer. It should be like a long ass flamethrower. Like, it should be a beam, kinda like that, most probably. And now let's put things into the perspective once again, and let's align that. Perfect. Almost perfect, but you know, it's just a prototype. Okay, so we have it. It starts here. And also we need to detect whether we are hitting something. And where do we hit that? Also, for the visualization front, yeah, right now it will be looking ugly because this cylinder will be going through things, right? But for like the more actually working prototype, visualization should be more like, hey, it always adjusts to the things that it's hitting, right? So it should be probably tracing. On every tick, it should be sending out a trace and tries to detect whether it is hitting something. And if it is hitting something, it should send the information, hey, you've been hit by a flamethrower or flame cylinder. And then the thing can respond to it in whatever way it can respond to it. So let's do exactly that. Although I'm kind of right now tempted a little bit to like work on a more fun visualization, but no, let's stick to the actual logic of it. We can always try to visualize things better a little bit later. Let's get the logic first. Besides, it's supposed to be an ugly prototype. The whole game is supposed to be only of ugly functional prototypes. If it's fun with the ugly graphics, ugliest graphics, it should be fun, you know, with the actual graphics. I want to do like one stream for trying to search the art style for that game. I have some idea and I want to do the stream this year, but I'm not sure when I will do it. Yeah. Okay, so let's start doing that. First of all, is tick enabled? Tick. It is enabled. Okay. Yeah, so those two things I don't need. This thing doesn't, cylinder doesn't need collision. I don't want no collision on that, actually. I kind of want this to be semi-transparent. No, fuck it. Fight off. Ado, fight off the temptation to work on visualization. Please fight off. Okay, give me a sec. I need to clean my nose quickly. Alright, I'm back. Sorry for that. I'm still getting out of the infection funk. Anti-Hero Game Studio. What's up? What's up? How you doing? Just hopped in. What do you have planned today? Well, I'm making another prototype for my game. I'm trying to make like a very arcadey and ugly looking, but functionally kind of working flamethrower or a fire cylinder that is supposed to melt steel and other elements in my game. So that's kind of what I'm making. Lots of prototypes, toys for my toy box to play with. And how are you doing? What are you working on? Toby says, by the way, I'm still searching for the name of the channel I used to watch. Oh, okay. Yeah, YouTube search function right now sucks. You can type in exactly the name of the channel or the video you're searching for, and it will not show the results for the I don't know how many scrolls, but it just won't show it, right? So it's probably because of that. Alright, so on event tick, I want to do like a trace. And it will be a sphere trace, I think. Sphere trace by channel, really. I want it, everything that is visible, I want to hit, right? And we should start from the place where we at, which is like default route, right? So from here, get world location, right? And I wanted to end. That's why I was tempted about like making a bit better visualization. I still might do it because, for example, I'm not sure what is the end of here, right? I don't know. It would be much better to just do like a particle that will be stretching out in here or whatever, but I can actually calculate it quickly. From left to right. This is like 1 meter, and we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7-meter trays in front of us. That's great. I mean, it's 1 meter cylinder stretched out by the scale of 7, so 7 meters. I could have fucking just calculated that. Toby says, I watched like a 300 part series. How am I not finding one video? As I said, YouTube search function sucks right now. Sucks so much that probably asking like ChatGPT or Gemini will get you better result than YouTube function. That's how I've been using Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever lately, as a better search function for the internet, because Google search sucks right now. YouTube search sucks right now. If you're using social media, I'm sure Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. search function sucks as well. I don't know why they fucked it up. I mean, I know why, money, and it pays off more to constantly barrage you with the ads and things that have been paid for. But yeah, Gemini, ChatGPT, DeepSeek are way better at searching internet for what you actually want to find, right? So yeah, that's why you're probably not finding. You found it! Toby says, found it! And nice to know that he returned to YouTube. Last time I was on his channel, the newest video was 1 year old. Let's check this out. Avalkis. I'm not sure if I know this guy. No, I don't know him, actually. Ah, he plays Manor Lords. Oh! Damn. City Skylines. Okay, so he's... Let me show you that guy that Toby was talking about. Stronghold host. He's guy that is into strategies. Nice. I didn't know him, I'll be honest. Oxygen not included. Yep. Scrap mechanic. Yep. And he's been doing it for a long time. Damn. Satisfactory. Yep. Raft. Yep. Damn. Avalkis. Thanks for the recommendation. I need to check him out. Anti-Hero Game Studio says, I feel like AI scrapped the internet, so we are forced to use AI to find answers. Yeah, kinda it feels that way, with the search function sucking right now and the AI scraping all the internet and being better at producing, sometimes hallucinating, but producing the link or at least the name of something that you were searching for better than the search function. It's kind of like they're putting the searching out of the business so they can push all the LLMs, right? But yeah, it feels like that. By the way, have I shared this with you or not? I probably shared, but let me share it again, because why not? Epic AI Assistant. Epic Games created their own LLM for asking questions. Like, for example, how should I set up ability system component for TPP shooter game with co-op? And you can ask him something. It will be, of course, you know, taking a little bit of time to produce something, and it will show you, first of all, he will show you the exact documentation you should read and give you like a little nice overview for that, right? It can also create like a little bit of C++ code. It cannot create blueprint for copy pasting, but it can create like an ASCII art of a blueprint how you should set up things, which is weird, but it kind of works. Sometimes it is hallucinating because it's still experimental, but you know, it is quite nice to use, and at least on my end it gave me a little bit more percentage of correct answers than, for example, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, or Gemini, right? So let me drop a link for that. Ask it to make ASCII art of a frog. Huh, I can. But I'm not sure if it is. They might have, you know. Yeah. They cannot do it. But if I were like, how to, I don't know, prototype shooting and blueprint, create a script for me, it should produce some kind of SKI art for that. But it's just only for like helping out with Unreal development. It doesn't give anything more. Oh, and this time it didn't create an ASCII art. Huh, that's funny. Toby says also, I used to watch the Scrap Mechanic live streams from 6 years ago. Damn. Oh, that's what I meant. Like, okay, he's showing you like in the plain text. I'm not sure if I should call it ASCII art. It's more like, hey, this is like node based, and it's trying to show you how you should kind of set it up. It's not ideal, but you know, it's still experimental, and it's showing you. Oh, it's telling you that you could use state tree. What the fuck? Okay, that's weird. But yeah, the percentage of good answers was a little bit better. And if you ask it about more of old features of Unreal, it's getting better answers than new features of Unreal. Like extremely new or experimental, it basically hallucinates all the time. But at least Epic trained it on, you know, its own code base. So that's why it is better a little bit than others. At least when it comes to Unreal, I don't think I would ask it like general C++ questions. Okay. So we're doing trace in the local X. So yeah, radius, I don't know. Can be like 25 centimeters. And it should start here. Now we should take, do a little operation. Take this default scene root in the local space, get local, get relative location, right? Let's advance it, and also get, oh no, we don't have to do it. I can just take forward. Never mind, brain fart. The one thing that I am kinda iffy about when it comes to scripting and blueprints, and always will be probably, is mathematics with blueprints. I don't know why it messes up with my head a little bit more than regular C++ coding, and in my opinion, C++ math operations are way more readable than blueprint ones. So it's sometimes hard to decipher what the given script is doing for me. I know it is a me issue, because I know people that actually prefer math and blueprints. I don't understand it, but if it works for you, then it's great, right? So get actor forward vector, and it will be already in the world space. Give me a sec, I need to clean my nose. Give me just a sec. Alright, I'm back. Yeah, and let's add to it. Actor forward vector times multiply by float. It will be 700, which is 7 meters. And yeah, this is my end for the format trace, visibility, don't trace complex, or should I? No, I'm not sure. And the actors to ignore is of course self, And that's it, I think. Toby says, oh, and about Friar in Slovak, it means something along the lines of a show-off, but with positive connotation. Laughing my ass off, looked up Polish meaning, had no idea. Yep, you can kinda create a potentially funny, not funny situation if you call a Polish guy or a girl a friar. It has a couple of meanings and none of them are positive. Yeah, which is funny. Like, I remember listening to, like, when I was a teenager, to Slovak rap group Contrafact, and it was either Rytmus or Ego that rapped about something that jesteśmy frajery or something like this, and I was like, why would you say that? Is it ironic? And then I looked up the meaning and I was like, oh, okay. Toby says it can also mean boyfriend in Slovak, but that doesn't fit that context. Yeah. Yeah. It can create funny confusion. Toby says those are old songs. Yeah, they are old. I remember listening to them like way back. I know that they have some new stuff, but I haven't checked it out, I'll be honest. But I remember liking them, at least back then. And I remember that they had many shows in Poland. They were beloved here. They were kind of seen like that's how the rap superstars should be, and there was like a discussion in Poland that why our top rappers aren't more like them. Typical conversation from back in the day. Toby says, I have no idea what's happening in the local scene. I watch mainly English content by now. Yeah, I'm the same way. I wouldn't be able to tell you what's happening in Polish scene as well. Apart from like maybe like one song or something that sometimes pops out. But YouTube and Google mainly kind of made it so everyone is watching more of an English content, right? Okay, so we have our trace set up, and how about we draw that for like half a second, and because it's on every tick, let's see if I fucked it up or I didn't fuck it up. This is our cylinder, and let's see. Let's turn on simulation maybe. Yeah, it creates a trace. It goes a little bit overboard, but I don't mind. And it starts a little bit earlier here, but it's alright actually. It probably should be a little bit bigger, so how about 40 centimeters? Toby says, I'm just familiar with all the songs as my parents put them on from time to time. Yep, I get that. I totally get that. Yeah, like, I'm not sure if I would be able to tell you, even like outside of Polish hip-hop scene, like what is happening in Polish art in general. Like, I have no clue. I only saw, I'm not sure if it is like a modern movie or not, Polish movie Szubuk, which is Kubuś read backwards, about the real history, and it was like one of the better Polish films that I watched, but it's not a positive movie, but real, about the mother of a child with severe autism and how it was being a single parent of such kid with so many disabilities while the country was transitioning from socialistic era to democracy and everything was corrupt, etc. A great movie, but this is the only thing that I know from the last 15 years of Polish art. Toby says, my knowledge ends about the time when Czechoslovakia split. Okay, okay. Understandable. My knowledge ends like right around 2008 or 2009, something like that. When it comes to like Polish art, that's where I was like so engrossed in what, you know, English speaking sphere was doing that I kind of forgot about anything from local space. Speaking of local space, let's check the trace right now. It should be, yes, a little bit bigger because I want to be a little bit more arcadey with it. Okay, so we can detect things. Now let's detect flame. Will we be able to detect flame? That is interesting. And I want to have like a break hit result. And I only want if only if I'm hitting something. I wanna do like a print string, not the print string, actually draw text, draw debug text. That's not what I want. Draw debug text. What the? Draw debug string. Okay, that's how it's named. That's one thing, cool thing about blueprints, that its autocomplete and context detection is amazing in my opinion. So that's what I like about blueprint scripting. Although I don't really do a lot of blueprint scripting in my day job. I'm mostly doing C++. That's why I like to do prototypes for this game on stream in blueprints, because it allows me to interface with something a little bit different, which stretches the horizons. Okay, so location, I want the location of an impact point. And hit actor, get name, get display name. That's the thing that I want to do. This is no. And let's make it like, I don't know, green. And duration, it can be like 1 second. Okay, now let's simulate that. I'm detecting absolutely fucking nothing. My trace doesn't detect the fully grown flame, so let's investigate that. Probably because it has no collision. That is one thing that would respond to visibility, but it should though. It has, but the collision preset has visibility as overlap, not block. I kind of wanted to block on visibility, so let's change my flame preset. They changed the way you access the project settings. It's no longer here. Okay, project settings and collision, blah 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 blah. Collision here, the preset, flame, visibility. I'm not sure if I'm fucking up my whole game royally by that, but let's see. Still nothing? No, actually, it produces some text, but I just don't see it. But BP flame fully grown. Yeah, it produces it, but I cannot read it. I don't know where it is being drawn, but yeah, I hit something, actually. So that's great. So we now can detect whether we hit flame or not, right? And send the information further. I like to prototype mechanics with using debug, text, draws, etc. because I want to know how it works exactly, and then actually put in like applying gameplay effects, etc, etc. because once you have all the logic of tracing or what have you, or state transitions, etc, figured out, you can always put in the data that it's supposed to, you know, process, right? Toby says, back then, Czechoslovakia split. Back then, Czech Slovak YouTubers sucked. That's why I watched Polish. Oh, didn't know that. It's actually quite odd, as because of how early I started watching Polish, I almost learned it as a native language by just sheer exposure. I met someone who actually speak Polish only years later. Damn, that's kinda cool, I'll be honest. That's kinda cool. Not kinda, actually, that is cool. That is cool. And I guess, you know, for people from Slovakia and from Czechia, learning Polish might be quite a bit easier than for any other nation, you know, in this region or in any region in the world, right? So, yeah, it is very cool that you were able to almost learn Polish just by sheer exposure to Polish YouTube. That's cool. That's really cool. That's cool. For me, it was funny because I kind of learned English that way. I had English classes in school, but they weren't up to snuff. I learned by playing video games only in English because Polish translation sucked back then in the 90s and early 2000s. And through listening to music, hip-hop in particular, and trying to decipher what they were saying, especially Wu-Tang Clan. And that's and watching movies, and quickly I kinda forced myself to watch movies only with English subtitles and there with no subtitles, because I felt like, yes, it is a hard way, but that's way I will learn, and that's kinda how I learned English. And I think this is like a way of learning stuff. Maybe my grammar might be off mark, but at least I'm speaking, you know, like kinda fluently, or at least, you know, I don't have like hesitance to speaking about this because it's kind of ingrained in my brain. I bet, Toby, you know what I'm saying, right? Toby says, I learned English like native that way too. Exactly. You catch my drift. No one in my family speaks English or Polish. I cannot speak about before early 2000s as I was born in 07. Oh, okay. Sure. Sure. Yeah, but that's like, in my opinion, the best way of learning English. I was kinda trying the same way of learning Italian because after playing Assassin's Creed 2, I was like enamored with Renaissance period. And back then I was at university. I went for university classes to learn a little bit of Italian grammar. But then I was just playing Assassin's Creed in native Italian. I barely understood it, but it felt like I'm learning way more than if I just, you know, was using Duolingo or something like that, right? I think like participating in media of a given language, right, is the best way to learn quickly. That's how immigrants are learning English. They're being dropped into a foreign, you know, they go to the foreign country, they're surrounded by the language, and my friend learned French that way. She was just dropped in Paris and she had to fucking figure it out, right? And she did. Toby says, I used to watch so much stuff in English, I didn't understand shit until someday I magically started to understand. Exactly. Your brain picks up patterns that when they're using this word and this word, it kind of means that thing, etc. You're picking up, etc. Like, it's, in my opinion, it's a very cool way because you kind of learned it super natively, kind of like as if you were a baby and you were just learning your language, right? And it kind of becomes your native tongue in your brain. I wonder, Toby, do you also have the same thing that your brain kind of doesn't think only in your native language, but it's a mambo jumbo of languages a little bit? Like, my brain doesn't think in Polish only or in English only. It's like an amalgamation of those two languages with sometimes word thrown in from like something else in there. I wonder if you have the same, if you observe the same phenomena. Okay, so we have the flame base, and how can we recognize that we hit the flame base? We can look at interfaces on wind interaction, water overlap interaction, etc. Wait, I fucked up. I didn't want to detect flame. I actually wanted to detect steel. I fucked up. Oh my god, I forgot to turn off the webcam and the microphone. Sorry for that you hear that. I'm really sorry. I was just lost in thought. I'm deeply apologizing for that. Alright, I kinda was lost in thought. I don't want to detect my flame with that trace, so let me revert my my stuff with the collision. When I still remember that, I have to submit my progress on the project eventually on my server. I'm constantly forgetting to do this. Alright, so I won't be detecting flame, I need to detect steel. That's what I wanted. Fuck, I'm stupid. Okay, so I don't have any metal related things right now, right? So let's create a new folder, metal related. All of this work that I'm doing here is kind of what I would consider a fugly, which means fucking ugly and dirty prototype, which if this game will get up to a point when I will deem it okay, actually it is a cool game that could enter a production, that's where I will start a new repo and start everything fresh with proper code and scripts. Because at least by then I would know exactly what game I was making. Kind of following Valve example, how they did with Half-Life 1. And I'm doing it because I can afford it. It's just a hobby, I'm just doing it, right? If I was actually having some budget and a company, I don't think I would go that route. Because it seems like you need to have Valve money to do this kind of thing. Toby says, I think mostly in English, but if I'm speaking in Slovak, I switch partly, but then there is this thing where I think of Polish or Klingon words instead of Slovak counterparts. The worst part is if I think of word in English but have no idea how to say it in Slovak. Exactly, my bro, exactly. I have the exact same thing. Sometimes I want to say something, English word pops up immediately, and I'm speaking in Polish to a Polish person, and I cannot find the Polish meaning of it, and I'm like, fuck, and I start to explain it like roundabout way, and then someone is like, did you mean that? And I was like, yes, thank you, I just couldn't find it. And then they are looking at me like I'm brain damaged, and I'm like, no, sorry, it's just a mambo jumbo. And they're looking at me like, you're a native Polish person, why do you speak like you're not from here? And I'm like, it's never mind. It is kind of funny. And I have the exact same thing. Toby says, I still use the word rozwalanie as I never learned a good translation. That's a good word. I'll be honest, I think there are a couple of words from Polish language that should enter general internet sphere of talking. Like pierogi is there, and for some reason bubr and bober is becoming a thing that people recognize internationally. But I think there are a couple of more that, at least from the way you hear them, it's like, okay, that's the best description. Like rozwalanie sounds exactly how it means, if you catch my drift. Rozwalanie is a perfect word to, you know, describe the thing it is doing. And rozwalanie means destroying, which destroying sounds how it sounds, but rozwalanie, for some reason, rolling R's in Polish are perfect. The same with like Polish swear word kurwa is way better than just fuck or merd or whatever. It's kurwa and it's perfect. Toby says, the young generation just went with it. Casual conversation in school is 50% Slovak and 50% twisted English to fit Slavic grammar. Yep, it's the same way in Poland. We call it Polglish right now. It's the same where both English speaking internet stuff and the corporation English created like this Polish sphere when you are using ASAP in a word in a normal way. Potrzebuję tego ASAP, etc. Like it's what it is. Okay, let's create like a, because the only thing right now metal related that I think I will have right now is the fact that I have a metal object. It should be detected as a metal object. and that if the flame cylinder, should I say, interacts with it for X amount of time, it will just melt, completely melt, right? That's the only thing that I know about metal, but still, it gives me info about things that I should detect. I should have a tag on it that, hey, I am metal, or an interface. Actually, I want to have it have an interface for interaction with flames, right? And I want it to be detectable that we are dealing with the metal by tag, right? But right now, do I really deal with tags that much? And do I really need to have like a different differentiation? Not really. I just need to detect from the fire cylinder perspective whether something has an interface to interact with the flame. That's it. I don't really care what kind of object it is. The object will decide for itself what to do with this information. So, without further ado, let's do exactly that. BP metal crate base. I'm calling it that way because I'm not really sure what else will be happening with metal. I was thinking about that if the level that I am building with is flame based, I might have more like metal, magnet, everything connected to metal base. So like burning down melting metal, of course, but also like electricity, conducting metal, some magnetism, etc, etc. Like I might have some mechanics around that. I'm not sure for the future. Toby says, my dad is shaking his head every time when he hears that they use English words in the TV instead of Slovak counterparts. Yeah, older generation is kind of like, fuck, our language is kind of getting mixed with another language, and they are kind of, my parents are the same way, and most of the older generation here parents is the same way. But that's the truth of it, that because of the dominance, since the Second World War, dominance of USA basically, and English language, right? And before that, the long dominance of United Kingdom, the British Empire, you know. Most of the languages probably right now are mixed with English, and English will be a part of most of the languages probably. And that's okay in my opinion, like that's what happens with languages. I understand the older generation kind of being iffy about it, but it is what it is. You can't stop that progress. Okay, so first of all, that thing actually will be a box, right? It will be a freaking box, and let's also like position it in such way that when I place it, I want it to be like that, right? Great. Great use of perspective cameras. I think it will be static, so we won't be rendering, paying with rendering that much. And Toby asks, will you implement bismuth crystallization? There is nothing useful about it. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. I haven't went that far with my thinking, I'll be honest. It looks cool. I might maybe not implement that exactly, but it might be the part of level visuals. Right now that you said it, let me just keep it in my open in my tab, because it might be the part for visual inspiration for the metal levels connected. It is a nice food for thought. Oh, nitinol could be cool to implement. I haven't gave too much thought about metal levels, but I'm writing all of this down, Toby. It might be something that, you know, it might be something. Do not know yet. My game is aiming to be not that simmy, more like arcadey, so like a kid could pick up and play it, right? Because that's kind of how I want to learn how to be a better designer of game. instead of just C++ programmer. But you just gave me food for thought, for inspiration. So thank you, Toby. I, have written it down right now. Especially bismuth. What? Nitinol also looks cool. It might be a part of visualization. Yeah, and inspiration. So thank you. Thank you. Nitinol, Toby says, Nitinol is a nickel titan alloy that returns to its set shape when heated. It might be a cool mechanic. Because of course when I have flames, etc., I was thinking about, ooh, ice, melting ice, but then I thought, every fucking game has melting ice. No, let's do something different. Melting metal sounds a little bit more fun. So if metal level will be after flame level, in the flame level I can teach the player mechanic of like, hey, here's how you melt metal. So when they go into a metal world, they will see like, metals, I interacted with that already. I know how to melt them. And then actually, more metal related mechanics can pop up, right? From that string of thought, right? So yeah, like heating up nitinol to have an actual shape, so you can, for example, travel somewhere thanks to that. Physics and chemistry of metal can be a breeding ground for cool gameplay mechanics. But I haven't went that far into that because I think like, even though I could probably start prototyping it, I first want to finish the flaming level just to be a better designer, so when I attempt cool shit like that, I'll be a little bit better at that, right? So, and also I have a tendency to be like scatterbrained and like throw myself at 6 different things and not really doing good progress with all of them. So I really want to focus on getting to a certain point with this flaming level, inviting my friends over and giving them the controller or mouse and keyboard to play that and get the raw feedback how it sucks. So I want to get to the point, but note has been made and an inspiration is there. Toby says different metals have different melting points. Maybe there's something to do with that. Exactly. Like the more I think about that, I feel like I could just open up, whatever Wikipedia page or scientific page and start reading more in depth about metals, etc., and how they interact with the world. Basically, the more I think there could be like a whole toy box of cool things to do with metal, right? Toby says, I want to study material science, so I find alloying and chemistry very interesting. Material science. Alloying and chemistry, very interesting. Yeah, it is very interesting. And it is also one of the hardest subjects to study. And the most interesting. And I feel like if you interact with that, it gives, how to say it, the best. It is the best, it might be one of the best, like, brain gym. That's such a stupid way to say that. It can expand your horizons the most, I think, because with material science there's so many things connected to it. Like you said, chemistry, physics, like electricity. When you get to the, for example, how transistors are being made, you get into quantum physics a little bit, etc., etc. Like, this shit is fascinating. It's very cool that you want to study material science. It's superbly cool. And also it might be one of the fields that AI won't take over that soon, because yes, it can have, come up with some answers, but you actually need to know the context and how things flow and combine so many fields of knowledge that I'm not sure if AI will produce an engineering quality level of solution for problems, right? So it might be great for the future. Okay, let's get back to this. Let's quickly create like a metal sorry for that. Still getting out of the funk. Let me take a quick drink. Toby says, I studied how to make integrated circuits on silicon already, and I have to know all about PN transitions because of school. That's great. So we already know a lot. If you know about PN transitions, that you know a lot. Damn, I'll be honest, Toby. You're making me very hopeful for young generation. And it is very inspiring what you're saying. That you're learning about all that stuff, etc. Toby says, I learned assembly, then I learned how to make CPUs out of logic gates, then I learned how to make logic gates. Hats off to you. Hats off to you, bro. Hats off to you. That's kinda the way it goes, right? At my university, we went about it the other way around, which was actually harder in my opinion, because at first we were being taught about how logic gates function, how they are made, and all the and how transistors made, all the quantum effects that are going into the electrons, right? About double slit experiment, etc., and why it is so important for transistors to work, right? And then how it all goes into CPU, and then how to use assembly, right? Which I think it was a war, at least for me and a couple of my friends, was a wrong order, because at the beginning we didn't understand why do we need to learn this, why do we need to know this, and only at like third year of university, when we got to the assembly and we started combining all of this thing, we were like, oh, it all makes sense, right? When I feel as if we started from assembly and we were like, okay, so now you know how to code for code for processor, right? Use those instructions, and you know how CPU works and what's the architecture of it. Let's dig deeper. Let's see how CPU is made out of logic gates, how logic gate works, etc., etc. And that way, it would be more like, oh, okay, now I'm kind of feel like an investigator digging deeper, right? Instead, it kind of feels like we started from the atom to from the electron to the assembly, right? And it was confusing, and a lot of people kind of dropped out because of that. Not dropped out of university, but from pursuing that kind of knowledge, right? Did you had a chance, Toby, maybe to work with Verilog HDL, VHDL, and the programmable circuits? Okay, so metal crate base. Let's create, as I said, quickly. Do I have? No, I don't have metallic. So let's make param. I kind of forgot how to make params. Convert to parameter. Okay, metallic. And yeah, let's make another param. Roughness. I have to do it. My brain won't allow me for anything else. And specular. Yeah, we can make specular. Why not? Metallic and yep, and specular. It will be a value of 1. And specular. Toby says, school is the best institution at running people's ruining people interests, I guess. I think our programming teacher is running an experiment if it's possible to kill people by boredom. Quite possible. Quite possible, but I agree. Like, I feel like when I went to school, I was curious about the world, and the school system kind of was killing my interest in the world, and more putting me on like the track of being a person that just learns enough to pass the grades and get great results in exams, which you can ace exams with knowing nothing and understanding nothing and not training your intelligence, etc., etc. Like, you can really get by and have the super high scores, and that's what school trains you to do, at least here. And only after school, after I went to university, after being 3 years in the university, I felt like getting back to my true self, being curious about the world. But it took 3 hard years of university, like bashing us, like, okay, you are in the education system now, here it is different, you still need to get good grades, but be interested, right? And only, I think, after 3 years of that, like, I was, okay, let me open up myself to the world again and my curiosity. Without that, I think I might not ever regain my curiosity about the world. So yeah, I agree with you. I have a beef with schooling system, but I also don't have like an answer to it, really. So I'm just bitching. Toby says, no, I haven't, about VHDL. Oh, this is like a rabbit hole that you can get to into like programmable processors, FPGA boards. It is like a rabbit hole. One of the rabbit holes that you can get to, like programming your own processors that are made only for one specific function, and they are outperforming fucking Threadrippers, etc., because it is, while having, you know, being a small processor, but it was designed to do optimally that one calculation or set of calculations for you. It's bonkers. It's bonkers, and it's also a rabbit hole that you can get into. Toby says, oh, now it's the age of online exams and LLM in the next step. Yeah, that's also the thing. Right now, I think face-to-face verification will be mandatory, right? Because otherwise, you don't know if someone is just being a node that transmits data from LLM to you, right? Toby says, FPGAs are cool but expensive, and making VM satisfies the curiosity of mine. Yeah, FPGAs are super expensive. I would not recommend paying for them by your own hand ever. Only use like university or school funds to do that. They are super expensive, but they are a rabbit hole. Kind of like Warhammer. And yeah, making VMs is awesome. Okay, I have that. Make writable. I will check that out later. Right, and now let's make material instance. MI basic or just metal. Let's just call it that. Just metal. And we are going with the roughness 0, metallic 1. And yeah, do I want to play with like specular? Really? No, it wouldn't change a thing for that. And yeah, of course, let's make it like metally. Yeah, like that. Maybe let's add a little roughness to it so it's not like too reflecty. Oh, 5. It is a little bit too reflexy. Yeah, like that. Let's apply that material to our metal crate base. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. It looks like shit, but that's kind of how I want it to look. At least for now. I might get some metal texture later. I couldn't care less right now. Or maybe there is like, let me search. Maybe there is already a placeholder. Some nice placeholder. Steel. Oh! Actually, that might be better. But no, because I kind of want to visualize it gaining temperature and then just melting. So no. I have to go with my own thingy, because I will be working on that material. Okay. So. Okay. We have metal crate, and I needed to have an interface. So let's click class defaults. I forgot. I was at Stockholm and Unreal Fest, and I had one note about what to do for my streams to turn on one thing for anyone who's following, so it will show the clicks of the editor. And let me take a quick pick into notes. Where was it? Do I have that? Fuck. Yeah, because sometimes I'm clicking shortcuts, etc. And there are other ways to display like shortcuts and stuff on the screen for streams or for tutorials, etc. But there's like a built-in way of doing it, and Ari from Epic Games was showing it, and I took a note and I quickly wanted to turn that on because I did receive the feedback that, hey, sometimes you're clicking things, you're saying that aloud, but it doesn't stick. It would be cool to show it off. And I'm like, okay. God damn. I cannot find this note right now. Okay. I might have to do it a little bit later. Or is it in widget reflector mode? Is it here? Is it that node? Widget reflector mode. And demo mode. Mouse click key. Yes, there it is. And can I close it? And it won't be showing up. Yep, and I can click Control S. Yes! Okay. It is showing in the right bottom. It will always show what kind of shortcuts I clicked, and it will show exactly when I'm clicking, and it's built in the editor. If you want to turn that on for your purposes, you need to go into debug, widget reflector, click demo mode, mouse click and key. That's what I learned in Unreal Dev and on Unreal Fest Stockholm this year. And sorry for not turning that on last stream. Toby says, living in an old ass house has one advantage. I can close the heavy wooden shutters to get rid of sun. That is true. Although, I'll be honest, I'm one of those weirdos that actually opens up all the windows to see the sun. And I know I'm in the minority. Most of the people working with computers prefer to like have no natural light and dimly lit room or no lit. They want to see just the screen, etc. But for me, it's kind of like it is uncomfortable for me. So I always like make sure that the sun gets in. And I'm the weirdo for that. I know that. Okay, so now let's click into class defaults. And let's add instance, if I remember that. Class default. Class settings. And let's implement interface. And it's flame. But I agree with you. Toby, if you need your sun to be just off, all these houses, especially here in Central Eastern Europe, that'll do the trick. BPA flame affected, and I have the interface on flame overlap that I will be able to just implement event, and then I can react to it. And let's do exactly that. Let's create a reaction, and then we hook it up all of that it will be showing up whenever my wind touches the fully grown flame, right? Toby says, during the summer break, I have my room pitch black so I can have 20-hour day and 9 hours sleep. Oh! Okay. That's the way to do it. Let me quickly grab one of my medicines. Okay, so I think I can turn all of that off, or maybe not. Yeah, and what I want to do, how I want to visualize it. Basically, whenever it is overlapping, I want it to start heating, and if it stops overlapping, it is not hitting anymore. And if I remember correctly, the way I did it for example, no, I don't. I only have event on flame overlap. I might actually BPI. Why do I search for levels? BPI flame affected. I might need another interface that will function, that will inform me that, hey, the flame is not overlapping anymore. Because what I want to do, let me quickly draw that. It is simple as fuck, really. Here is my metal crate. My flame cylinder interacts with it, right? It's getting hotter, hotter, and hotter. And then it just melts, right? It just disappears. But if my flame cylinder gets out of the way, the metal cools down, starts cooling down, right? That's kind of a mechanic that we need. But I don't have a way of detecting whether my cylinder stopped tracing that metal, right? Toby asks, why doesn't Power Toys show when there are conflicting shortcuts? I don't know. Probably like lots of Microsoft tools, or tools for Windows in general. Probably it just is lacking a little bit. But it is the pain that you have to experience it on your own to see like, huh? I have conflicting shortcuts? What the fuck? Every other program and video game is detecting that. Why isn't that one? Yeah. Toby asks, will you have electricity implemented? There is a possibility of that. Very arcadey simulation. Very arcadey. But I thought about that. But I also thought that many games are doing some form of circuitry, or at least electricity conductivity mechanisms, etc. So I might be too much tempted to take their solutions when it comes to game design. So I'm not sure yet. Toby says I could send in a pull request, but too lazy to find a way to fix it. I get it, I get it. Okay, on flame stop overlap. And that's kind of what I wanna call, I think. Because my metal crate base then could implement that event as well, right? So as long as my on flame overlap is okay, is being called, I'm still heating up the metal crate. Once the stop overlap is being called, I'm stopping, have a slight cooldown, and then the temperature gets lower, right? So let's start just doing that, right? Should I do it on time or? Yeah, I could just do it with one timeline component, I guess. Like timeline component. That's not what I wanted to do. Timeline. Add timeline. Exactly. And call it temperature timeline. That way. And I can just add the float track. call it temperature. And let's have it normalized. When it hits 1, it will burn down, right? Everything below 1, it is heated but not burning down, right? And let's say it takes like 4 seconds to do that. So now let's add key in 0, of course in 0. Let's add key here at 4, and the value is of course normalized 1, and that's kinda it. Really. Toby says, implement volts and amps properly with transformers and make the players step up the amps to melt something. And then Toby continues, implement gallium and have a puzzle where you have to turn it into a gas. Let me write it down. Toby, let me round it down. Let me write it down, Toby. These are nice suggestions. Yeah, and my game is about shooting arrow from a bow, so actually there could be like some cool ways I could interact my shooting arrows with volts and amps. Yeah, let me write all of that down. Where are my notes? Yep, and let me... Toby says technically the same could be done with mercury. Yeah, that is true. Let me write all of that down to serve as a inspiration. Just the boiling point is really low. Yeah, that's true. Also, you kind of gave me an idea that what if instead of like having different arrow types that have different abilities, what instead if my arrows could be different materials, right? Like some of them will be wooden, some of them will be metal, some like there is a thought there. There is a thought. There is something to be done there for sure. Okay, so on the event overlap, let's see at first if this was like the first overlap. So we will be of course creating a variable. B is heating up. That will be false by default. On the first, it will be set to true. As I said, on the first time, get, let's branch it out. And if it is false, then set it to true. And then let's start playing with that curve. And if it is already hitting up, don't really do anything. If on overflame stop and we are hitting up, then let's just make it false. And after a small delay, delay task wait delay. I prefer tasks to regular delay because then I can kill those tasks, right? After like, I don't know, 1 second of cooldown. Reverse from wherever you are actually. And here, why am I having a cooldown? Because, for example, let's say the fire cylinder was heating up my metal for a second, then went away, then came back. I wanted to kind of start from the temperature that it kind of ended up on. So I'm giving like a slight cooldown before it starts cooling down. Actually, the words are fucked up here right now. Okay, I'm giving a slight pause before the actual cooling down of the metal occurs, right? Just to give the room for error for the player. I don't want to punish them too severely. Toby says, also, if you'll be boiling any metal, the player should have some protection if you want to stay realistic. Also, mercury has some crazy reactions with other metals. No, I'm not really being realistic here. This is more like an arcadey thing, so player is basically immune to all those gases. Although you just gave me a food for thought that maybe I will implement some form of that. I'm not sure yet, but nah, the game isn't aiming really to be realistic. It is more like, let's create super arcadey, cartoony version of some of the real life physics and chemistry, right? But it's for sure will be more on the, you know, cartoony side of things, or arcadey, I would say. So that's kind of what I'm aiming here for. Even though it kind of seems like I'm going simmy about it, but if I was actually trying to do more simmy things, I would go for entity component system instead of actor-based things. And I would go for mass plugin inside of Unreal Engine, because that's what has entity component system. That way I could just write each and every system that simulates, for example, one system simulates electricity, one system simulates heat transference, other system simulates fluids or whatever, right? And that way I could create simulations and then just start creating entities with data on them, variable, and see how it interacts with each other, which could be a cool project, but probably the one that I will be finishing in like 10 years. And I'm not sure if it will be working with the if I could get it running up to 60 FPS. But it will be a cool project for sure. Okay, and now let's start playing with our basic color. So I want to change the base color a little bit. So first of all, also on the begin play, I need to create the dynamic material, right? Create dynamic material instance for the cube, exactly, on the begin play. And the source material is, am I just metal? Want to metal dynamic material instance. Okay, let's turn that off. Let's delete that for a hot second. Because I will be, the more of a temperature it has, the more red component of our base color should be, right? So my, where the hell is this? My metal right now has the basic value of colors like that. I can actually copy that, and I want to increase the red value constantly, right? Until it gets, actually, what if I just went like this? And we'll get more red-ish, and I should also add emissive to it, right? Because it should also be a little bit emissive. Toby says, I will be happy with any chemical that renders 4 on the instability scale. Okay. Toby says, actually, red is the coolest. It goes from red to yellow and only mats at basically white. Forging is done at yellow. Yeah, you're right, actually. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's how I should go about it. Red, yellow, white, melting. Yep, you're actually right. You're actually right. Okay, let me still create this parameter and call it emissive. And I made a typo, emissive. And let's hook it up in here, right? Just metal has no emissive yet. But basic color, I have that. So yeah, right now I'm thinking this is like a timeline that has normalized temperature between 0 and 1. Just that, right? And I should probably, just to make my life a little bit easier, let's create a new folder, metals, whatever, and create like a curve, color curve. Let me see if I'm thinking correctly about that. It should be like a curve linear color. Curve linear color. Metal melting. Yeah, 0 is on. Yeah, that's exactly, I think, what I want to do. So let me just copy that basic color and or should I just say, let me copy the green. Okay, let me just bring back whatever the fuck that was. Yeah, let it be slightly like that. And let's just copy the RGB values. Toby says, and if a bolt in an electrical junction box it's red, it's an indicator that something is connected incorrectly, as our teacher put it. Yep, that's true. Okay, let's first create like I never really edited this type of color curves before. So let me turn that off. I just want to have a red curve and I want to change the value of it. How the fuck do I do this? I only have hue, saturation and brightness. I don't have RGB here. What? Okay, and if I move this to like half, okay. No, I have the RGB value. This is the RGB value. Okay. That's great. So now I can select green one. I'll be honest, this is my first time, and I've been working with Unreal Engine for a long time, actually integrating with the curve, with the linear color curve. I didn't have to do it anyway before, but I also don't really work with visuals that much, right? So let me just neatly copy all of my values, like right in here. And the blue. Where is this, right? So I'm starting from here, and let's say it quickly gets to the red. So let's say at 0.3, the red should be. What the hell? I thought I copied the value. I did. Ah, yeah, I did. Okay. So now let's insert the new key. It should be 0.3. And let's just increase the redness value, right? Let's show everything. I want this to be more red. Can I work with this in any way, other shape or form? Like, can I have like a color wheel or something? Like, I would love to select like a point and just color wheel it. But whatever. That would be a little bit easier. Toby says, our teacher for electrical engineering certification is the best. From each norm he explains, he has a picture how someone is breaking it. That's a great way of showing it. And from time to time he points it out directly in the classroom how it's connected incorrectly. That's the best way of learning, in my opinion. That is the best way. So let's put that also at 0.3, and let's actually decrease all those values a little bit. Like, let's start with the blue one, so it will be more redder actually, and the green one it is low already, so let's make it like 0.1. I made it pink actually. 0.1. Okay, now we're going redder. Where's my 0 point? Did I fucked it up again? Oh my god. No. Bring it back to the green. No, everything is alright. Okay, it's just showing the weirdly. Zoom to fit. Okay, okay. Where's zoom to fit? View fit. Okay. We have that. Now we should turn to yellow, and then white at the end of the spectrum. So for all, let's create, of course, a new point on all of those. Did it create it for all of those? Okay, we have red. No, it didn't. 0.6, thank you. And blue, 0.6, it created. Okay, so now we need to get into the... I wonder, like, for someone as stupid as me with colors, I would love to have, like, just, you know, selectable thingy here, right? To make it more like this. But okay, whatever. I would love to just have a color picker there, right? Instead of working off of RGB values, etc. But okay. We can always take a peek like that, and let's make for those 0.6 values, the red should be similar to like green, so yeah, it can be 0.6, and green also should be 0.6 at this moment, but blue should like go to almost 0. It looks more greenish, so let's turn that off completely, and let's yeah, that's why I would rather have color picker, because right now it's just more greenish than yellow. But fuck it, I can just, you know, go like that, go to yellow that I exactly wanted, and maybe copy those values here. So red 1, green 0.8. Okay, let's do exactly that. I'm bad with colors, guys. 0.8, and red is just 1 exactly, and now everything at 1 should be kinda how it is right now. Yeah, we got that. Okay, so now I think I'm going about it very roundabout way. Very roundabout way. Okay, I like that it is showing those exact things. The demo widget reflect like those circles that it worked, and it shows all the shortcuts that I'm clicking, everything that I'm clicking. That's what I needed. Okay, so we are taking this metal dynamic material instance, and we are setting the parameter on it. Where the hell was it? It is the vector parameter value, right? Because our color is a vector. Where the hell are we? Right? Vector parameter, yep, basic color. It will be called basic color. Split struct. You can see that it is exactly that. And I can actually have curve. Curve near color. I can reference that, and it will be like our metal melting color curve. And task wait delay what? I cannot use that. What? Cannot use the task. Boo. Boo. Okay, let's have this delay then. Fuck you. And let's hope it will not crash. Why am I saying this? Because it stems back from gameplay ability system. When you have a task that is doing something in the background, the moment the object dies, the task should also be killed, etc. But sometimes the callbacks to it might still exist in the memory, and they will get access, triggered or whatever, and you might have a crash on your hand. So it is a good practice to always save references to your tasks and manually kill them, right? So you are 100% sure that nothing will no timer, no nothing will suddenly get a callback and crash your game, right? With that, I'm not really sure how this node is implemented. Probably it's not crashing, but still, I'm a little bit worried, right? But let's reference our curve linear color in here. Oh, and I changed accidentally. Yeah, let's change it back. I don't care. I don't really care because it will be taking values from the curve, so it will set up correctly. And yeah, let's just quickly get this from the content drawer. Let's click that arrow, reference that. Now let's get that and get. And what was the name of this? Get. No. Time range? No. Get value. Get linear color value. Yes, that's what we wanted. And our x-axis is this. Let's recombine that struct, of course. And yeah, it should be working. Once the on-flame overlap gets called and it is heating up, it should start playing this timeline. It should start changing the color of our material, right? And once we stop overlapping, it should be dead. Now let's get back to our flame cylinder because we are only having this tick. And we should call the on-flame overlap. The blueprint interface has it done automatically and has automatic implementation that I'm just sending a message on flame overlap and it will automatically check whether my object that I'm hitting here, break hit results, my actor. Actually, also let's check if actor is valid, because I might have hit something, but it might not be the actor, right? If it has an interface, and if it has the interface, it will receive the exact info, right? Also, I want to save a reference, promote to variable. Hit flame target. Why do I want to save the reference to it? Well, because I also want to know that I should send an event to not track it. For example, If I'm not hitting anything, immediately I should just take my hit flame target. Once again, see if it is valid, because the crate might have melted and it might not exist anymore. So first of all, let's see if it is valid. If it's not valid, then just set the reference to, you know, be null, right? First of all, if it is valid, then call on flame stop overlap, right? And that way we know that, okay, we're not really hitting it. And excuse me, for a second, super important message from my partner. Oh. I need to check that out in a second. Toby, you wrote. Toby says, I just flashbanged myself because I forgot I got the shortcut to invert colors on Control Windows C and color picker on Shift Win C. Oh my god, it must have been painful for your eyes. Toby says, also regarding our discussion with how you could turn metal and metal properties into a gameplay, I think you should oh no, sorry. No, probably don't bother with bismuth. It goes through so many colors when melting. Yeah, I won't be too realistic with that. Toby says, I think you should dereference a null pointer. I heard it's good for performance. I mean, if something becomes null, your pointer becomes null and you have it, you should always kinda make sure that it doesn't point into any address, right? So I'm not sure about the referencing null pointer in that way. Have you like profiled that? I'm curious about that right now. Let's see, dereference null pointer C++, or is it like some kind of meme? There are lots of memes about the referencing null pointer. I mean, that was a joke. The referencing null pointer will crash. Okay, okay. Oh, I am stupid. Okay, I was thinking in blueprint. Yeah, never mind. Everything that I said like 2 minutes ago was stupid. Of course it will crash. Yeah, I don't know why I conflated the reference with setting, you know, my reference to null. Yes. Yes, it is a joke. The referencing a null pointer will always crash. Of course. You caught me. You caught me, Toby. I conflated with exactly that note. And now I'm blushing red because I should have got that. I should throw away my engineering diploma right now. It's kind of as if I would code with Ligma, right? Okay, I think we are ready for that shit. Let's test it out. That's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. Let's turn on simulation without the player. And of course, maybe let's place, you know, blueprint metal related, my basic metal crate here. And let's see what will happen. It should start going through all the colors in the world. Kinda. I'm not sending emissive parameter. And also, I forgot my emissive parameter is set up wrong way, because I should also take like adaptation inverse, and I should mix that, multiply my emissive by that. The reason why I'm doing it, I cannot explain exactly, but I heard from a rendering person that may or may not have worked with Epic Games, that you should always take emissive parameter and put it through eye adaptation, so you won't get this weird effect that when you're basically blasting emissive into the viewer's eyes, right? So we should just take that, and it is working. Let me just send the emissive parameter, right? Set scalar parameter value, right? And let me just take this normalized temperature, maybe multiply it by 10 or something, right? And well, the name was just plain emissive, but let me just copy it because I am prone to making a shitload of typing errors. So why waste time when I can, with finding what my error was, only to find out that it was a typo. Now, let's get back to it. It's kind of turning white a little bit too quick for my taste. Let me quickly play around with the parameters of emissive. Okay, I fucked up something, because let me unhook that for a hot second. It goes through all the colors, but when I hook emissive, it actually just goes straight to white. Maybe let's not multiply it. I am not sure what I fucked up with my visualization, but I don't think I want to waste too much time with the visualization error for now with material. Now I want to spawn this fire cylinder via dynamic interaction between wind and fully grown flame, right? Yep. Toby says Rust would fix that. They're referencing null pointer. Oh, really? I haven't really worked with Rust, so how Rust handles the referencing null pointer, or does it even have pointers? Like, I know next to nothing about Rust. Multi-buy with it, UTF-8 breaks shift arrow, select and twitch. It allows me to copy just one byte, breaking the emojis. Really? Toby says there aren't null pointers in Rust. Row pointers should never be used in Rust. That's actually a smart decision. That's why smart pointers exist in C++, because row pointers are hell. That is true. Okay, yeah, so now let's just get around spawning that. Let's put our metal thingy in here. And what should happen is this thing should be spawned immediately, and should be spawned only once. So that will be kind of hard, because I still might be spawning a shitload of flame spheres, flame cylinders. But let's figure this shit out together. Okay, let's get to flame fully grown. Actually, flame base. This is where event on wind interaction. Maybe let's also quickly comment on stuff. Like event begin. Or like begin play. Here's where I do all the initializations. 36. Let's create messages for my future serve. Flame on flame interface 36, so I will understand what was going on. Yeah, so Toby says just use direct memory addresses in assembly like a proper Chad. Hell yeah, hell yeah. When people are discussing what is the most Chad language out of all, C++, Rust, some are claiming JavaScript, which gives me like a reflux. The only answer is just go with assembly, write directly to the hardware, and read direct memory addresses. That is true, Toby. Most Chad way. Okay, now in our flame base, when we are fully grown, I want to spawn flame actor. It can be here. It should be rotated that way, so that thing is not wrong. I should be spawning this thing instead of spark. Right? All of that is true, but I need to take a quick second to think about it, but I also need to take a quick second for a break. So, let me get a quick break. Let me write it in the chat also. So I need to get a quick break, and we'll see each other in like a couple of minutes. So, see you soon. am back. I am back. I will be having a quick snack because I'm lacking energy a little bit. If you don't mind. Toby says, if you ever worked in any other language than Rust, Rust will feel so awful in so many ways. Probably the most annoying being that a small project compiles just as long as you would be compiling to compiler along with it in any other languages. I have a project that has about 8,000 lines and compiles for like 5 minutes. Damn, that's a long ass compile time. So what are the pros of Rust if it takes that long to compile? Is it like because it is way more memory friendly? Memory friendly by mean memory management friendly? Why does it take so long to compile? Toby says, if not assembly, I'm for Zig, as it's lower level than C. Yeah, I heard about the Zig. Never really interfaced with it myself, but I heard about it. Comp time keyword. Oh, it has comp time. Yeah, I heard about that. But I never really interfaced with it myself. The funniest language that I ever saw is... let me quickly show you. That one. Have you guys heard of Arnold C? A programming language based on the one-liners of Arnold Schwarzenegger? That is, I would concur that apart from like coding in assembly like a GigaChat, coding in Arnold C also makes you a GigaChat. It's showtime, talk to the hand, hello world, you have been terminated. I mean, the dedication someone had to create that is great. Toby says, I'm back, what did I miss? Not much, I had a small break. And I read your comments about Rust, and I had a question about why does it take so long to compile? I was curious about that, and I also said that I heard of Zig, I never really interacted with it on my own. And then I showed one of the funny languages that I've seen. Arnold C, a programming language based on the one-liners of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I tip my hat off to the guy who made it. It has actual support in Sublime. And I just wondered, I mean, you can make a game with it, but it would be funny to make a whole engine based on Arnold C, right? And the editor for the game engine would be based around that. It is kind of funny. Okay. Let's get back to... task at hand. I want to spawn this thing, but only if it hasn't been spawned. And I'm not sure if I want to have... like final propagation local directions, all 4 of them. Or do I just want to save the in world direction world space? and just do that. I think that's kind of what I want to do. So click, 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 and use that, and not use the propagation really logic for that. What the hell? Oh, it lost context. Midpoint. What? That's kind of funny. It will probably turn into its own event in a second. Like spawn. Try to spawn flame cylinder base or something like that. Along that way. Toby answers about the Rust, burrow checker magic, and crazy ass macro system. And to add to the previous languages I have mentioned, B makes me feel like I have no control while I have to do everything myself. B. I haven't heard of that language. Let me quickly see. Fuck AI overview. Oh! 69. 1969. Still younger than my parents, but... I haven't ever interacted with B, but I see it is kind of like a precursor to C. A typeless language with only data type being the underlying machine's natural memory word format. Ooh, whatever that may be, depending on the context, the word was treated as an integer or memory address. The typeless nature of language was seen as disadvantage, which led Thompson to develop an extended version, blah blah blah, which became the ubiquitous C++. Okay, okay. B came before C, crazy. Yeah. Actually, let's create the event right away. Custom event. Let's name it. Of course, try to spawn flame cylinder. And it should have in wind. It should have that. Where was that? Why can't I see the details with the... Okay, what the fuck? And let me just copy that and put that as an input to this. And it is a vector. Pass by as reference. Why should we make fucking copies? And it should be constant. Yes, I don't want to change it. And yeah, let's call that logic. Try to spawn cylinder flame. So we won't have like a long ass node chain. Now let's take everything from here to here. Bada bing, bada bonk. What's up? Okay. Let me quickly align all of this shit and try to spawn flame cylinder. Okay, okay. We got that shit on the lockdown. Toby says B was revived by Tsoding, if you know him. I'm not sure if I know him. Let me quickly search him. Okay, no, I don't know him. But I see he has a Twitch. Let me quickly jump on his Twitch. Okay. Okay, I need to check this guy out. Thank you for recommendation. And I closed that window. Thank you for recommendation. I need to check him out. Okay. So wind interaction is almost done. On that node, and we have here if it is fully. Now let's save this, as I said, for reference. Not watch this value. What the fuck did I click? Promote to variable. Current flame cylinder, and I wanted to spawn it and save it because the thing is valid. I only wanted to spawn if it is not valid. That is the save of optimization. If it is valid, just change the rotation, right, of that thing, which would be exact same thing here. So I could just take it back here, or I could create like a small function, but I don't like using functions in blueprints too much because even though it is, you know, something that you would do in C++, etc., or create lambdas or something, in blueprints it kind of creates awful hard to find blueprint spaghettis. Toby says all VODs are on YouTube with Twitch chat stuffed into formatted subtitles. Oh, that's interesting. The Twitch chat is stuffed into formatted subtitles. I need to check that out. I have him here in the different tab, so I'll be sure to check something out. Sounds like something cool to watch while, you know, doing a day job. Okay, so we have spawned this thing, and when we are not spawning this thing, because we already have it, we want to rotate that thing. Rotate that thing. First of all, is it valid? Because maybe player went away and optimization deleted that whole thing. So first of all, let's see if it is valid. And if it is valid, then set rotation on it. What the fuck I did? Then set rotation. Set actor rotation. Teleport physics. Couldn't care less. It's not really that. So new rotation is that. And that's what should be happening. And how to kill the cylinder flame base? Well, I need to detect the moment where I stop interacting with the flame. So that is interesting because I can have three there might be a bug in there because I can have three sources of wind at the same time. And only one flame cylinder will appear. But fuck it, I will fix it later. Toby says all subtitle formats are allowed to set font color and position as they were used back when editing text into video was non-trivial. YouTube still supports these legacy formats. That is interesting to say the least. I didn't know about that. Damn, if I had time to experiment with that. But that's good to know. Maybe over a Christmas break I will be able to do something with that. Okay, so now the only thing that is needed in my end is to detect whether wind interactions stop. And I remember that the way I did it is that let's take my BP wind actor base. Toby says he has a CLI tool written in Go for automatically generating them. You could look into that if you want to try it. Oh really? Damn, if shit is laid out already for me, then I will for sure try it. The problem I have with trying lots of things is that my time budget is actually, because of live things, is basically a debt. So probably, let me write that down. I will only be able to check that out during the Christmas break, realistically speaking. Subchat. Mikadze subchat. Subchat is a command line and GUI toolset for generating new accept titles from chat logs. Damn. Okay, thank you for link to that. Okay, so the way it does it is that when we are beginning overlapping, we're doing that thing, and we are ending overlapping, we're calling on wind interaction with the reverse of the direction of wind, so we can undo the mixing that we did, right? Because we can have like 4 or many other sources of wind affecting one flame. So when it propagates, it will be doing like the calculation from the mix directions from all the wind sources. But I might also need another event that will be just like, hey, this wind source stopped interacting with it, right? Stopped interacting, right? So that is the way for me to know that, hey, I actually stopped interacting for the functionality that doesn't consider wind mixing, I think. Yeah, I think it might be, hit and miss. Okay, let's do this. On wind interaction, let's just add the function on wind overlap stop. Just that, and should I pass on the actor wind source, something like that, or do I don't care about that for now? I don't care about that for now. So not only that, wind interaction, I will also be going on wind overlap stop. Or I should call it actually ended to keep it with like Unreal Engine's naming convention. Ended. So on this, I should add implement event, put it where all the other wind events are, which is here. And spawn despawn. Let's name it spawn despawn because I just want to despawn my flame cylinder once I do not interact with the wind, right? So I will have to extend it to like different sources of winds, but right now I just want to create the mechanic and see it working, right? So yeah, custom event and try to despawn flame cylinder, right? Try to despawn flame cylinder, and we got that covered. And it is just current flame cylinder get. Let's see if it is valid first, right? If it is not valid, don't do anything. If it is valid, we should call like end on that. So flame cylinder, let's create custom event and flame. Let's call it that because I might want to have like a visualization of some sorts that it kind of dies out or something. So instead of just killing the actor, I just want to make end flame. Here will be some visualization and then setting lifespan to like 1.1. So all of the actor life management systems can kick in and just destroy it whenever it is needed to be destroyed, right? So end flame exactly. And it should work out, I think. Let's try to... No, let's try to play that. Now we have it. It instantly became white, but it's not too emissive. It stopped because it collided with me. Or... why does it still exist? I don't think I called that event, or what? Try to despawn flames in. On-wind overlap ended. I don't think I called on-whip. No, I did. What is my error in here? Okay. This thing should be called. Okay, so this is probably not called. Let me set up a breakpoint. Let me set up a breakpoint in here, and let me set up a breakpoint in here, because this is exactly what should have happened. Like okay. Why is it calling it like immediately to die? Okay. And that didn't why? Okay. Toby says, but watching the VOD at the 3.5 speed kind of breaks it. I had to set background opacity 100% to hide overlap. Oh, okay. Good to know. I also watch them VODs and like lectures and podcasts at listen to or watch them at the day job at like in the background at like 1.5 or 2 times speed sometimes. 3 times speed I'm unable to decipher what they are saying. It is way too fast to me. Toby says, why is it so hard to force myself to work on anything? There are lots of reasons why right now you might be feeling like that, and taking a little of a break is not wrong, you know. Sometimes we need to, you know, just decompress, take a pause, and then come back to it. You don't have to, you know, do it every day, right? So maybe it is your body giving you signals that, hey, we need to take a little pause or something like that. At least that's how I always interpret it for my end. But yeah, there are times when it's so hard to force yourself to work. Yeah. It can be painful, right? Toby says, you can train yourself to understand fast spoken words. I started with 1.52, now I have 2 as a minimum, and I can pretty fine understand 5 times, but still 4 times is max comfortable. Yeah, that's true. That is true. That is true. And it's funny because, for example, fast rapping like Tech9 or Eminem or whatever, I can kind of sort of understand what they're saying, but for some reason when it is not music, it is like a little bit harder for me. But yeah, maybe I will try once again at like 2.5 to see if I'm better at it after all this time. We'll see. I have like some annoying ass error. I have some annoying ass error that I don't know where it stems from. Let's call print string and flame to know that that has been called. And I also want yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to do. And also whether I detected on wind overlap ended. Print string. Wait a second. No, it should be fucking true. It should work. Okay, so let's on overlap ended. Toby says you'll need to speed a speed extension for more than 2 times on YouTube. Oh really? I thought that there was like a custom value to set it to. Huh. Okay, but getting extension ain't a problem. For checking shit out. It works on Twitch too, but for some mysterious reason the stream lags as hell at 3 times speed. Huh. Interesting. Okay, let's see what gets called when. What the? And it should die. Why the hell are you still there? And you're still tracing. Let me maybe get out of the way. It called everything. Tobias, did the joke just fly completely over your head? Huh? I guess so. I didn't understood the joke. Is it... You need a speed extension for more than 2 times on YouTube. It works on Twitch too, but for some mysterious reason the stream lags as hell at 3 times speed. I don't see the joke. Like VODs from Twitch are lagging. Yeah, I think I missed the joke, I'll be honest. Yeah, it did fly over my head. I'm not sure about VOD Twitch. Yeah, it did fly over my head. 3 times on live Twitch. A live Twitch! Of course, live Twitch. I automatically assumed you were talking about those Twitch VODs. Okay. Now I get it. 3 times on live Twitch would mean I could see the future. Yep, that's true. It did fly over my head. Also, there was this thing on YouTube. It still exists. There's this channel called MinMax. These are like ex-Game Informer people that are doing streams, some videos, etc. about video games. And they used to have, I'm not sure if they still have it, like a trivia show that was being streamed live on YouTube. And you had to type in the answers into the chat, right? Or on a Discord, right? To win stuff, right? And the thing that people were doing on YouTube, they were putting actual live stream on 1.5 or 2 times stream. Because for some reason, sometimes it streamed some packages, I guess, faster for them. Or streamed packages, what the fuck am I saying? Lag on their own computer probably was omitted or something, but for some reason people claimed that thanks to that it worked a little bit better and they could see the stream faster, even though it was still technically 1.0 stream, but setting it 2 times gave them an advantage when it comes to typing or something like this, which was like weird. I don't understand how that works, but lots of contenders in this contest had reported that once they switched to 2 times speed for live stream, which doesn't make sense, since switching to that, they started getting better at this game because their answers were popping up quicker, right? Weird shit. But yeah, I assumed that you were talking about, like VODs. So that's why it flew over completely my head. But now I get it. Okay, but what I don't get is why this motherfucker is still alive. Even though I called End Flame. Okay, I know that I called End Flame. But did I call it on a correct guy? Because that never gets triggered. So technically I get here, but my End Flame is not being called on an actual cylinder that is supposed to die. Because the breakpoint doesn't get in, which tells me exactly what. I have no fucking clue, I'll be honest. Let's try that again. Toby says, yeah, it catches up to the real time better. Twitch automatically plays at 1.0 free speed. Really? Oh, I didn't know that. That it automatically plays. End Flame? Yeah, I'm just mispronouncing words. End Flame. End Flame. Okay. I have this. What is the name of that thing? Let's turn on the debug camera. Ah, yeah, of course, it doesn't have collision, but I can still fuck me sideways. Do that and select that thing, and it is BP Flame Cylinder base. Okay, so let's see if no fuckery is going on. End Flame was called. Now, what do we have here? It is a completely different flame cylinder. The previous one got killed, but that one never received an event. Okay, why a new flame was even spawned? It should not spawn. That's the first thing, and the second thing is, even if it got spawned, how the hell ending overlap wasn't detected? Because that's the thing, like, okay, we having twofold bug. One, that we spawned the cylinder when we shouldn't have. Two, the newly spawned cylinder didn't detect that it was end of the overlap, which guides me into thinking that most probably the spawning of a new cylinder actually is happening right at the end of the overlap. So the new cylinder doesn't even get any overlap end events because overlap just happened. Yeah, so I think it is in the exact same frame the old one dies, the new one gets detected, And we cannot detect in the next frame because the volume actually moved further away. We cannot detect that the flame cylinder shouldn't exist anymore because overlapping doesn't happen anymore, right? So that's what I think happened. So let's try to fix the first problem. The onwind overlap ended is called it despawns flame cylinder, and yet immediately it tries to spawn another flame cylinder. So it spawns and despawns at the same time. Toby says, I'm thinking of pulling out the cotton candy machine because of just why not? You own the cotton candy making machine? Damn! Really? Really? Or are you just messing with me? Damn. And to see if my theory is true, let's have a breakpoint on. What? In that situation, it detects that onwind overlap ended? In what fucking way? Okay. Give me tools, debug, blueprint debugger. I wanna freaking see the call stack of that thing. And I cannot see the value of that thing. Okay. So, in the middle of a movement, for some reason, Wind Actor detected that overlap was ending, and then it immediately tries to despawn flame. Okay. Then it tries to spawn flame cylinder again. Okay. Let's keep that one still here. So now I have what is even going on? What the hell? Okay, let's just stop the whole play session because something got severely messed up. Toby says, I have a popcorn maker too, but the cheapness is feelable. I already had to repair it. Nice, you have lots of cool machines then. Be right back. I have to wash it. It was collecting dust and cut her for a few months, and even if it might look fine, it won't taste fine. Yeah, I bet. Don't worry, bro. What kind of stupid ass error I have here? Because what I didn't expect is that it detects and overlap. Let it be for like 10 seconds, right? I want to really see it. Ten seconds. And when we spawn, I also want to see it. Damn! This is a second stream dedicated to kind of a flamethrower, and it takes so much time. But this time it is just like simple error, I hope. Now spawn flame cylinder, right? And duration. It is that. Yeah, so I should have a printout when I'm spawning flame cylinder, printout when the overlap is being called, and when the end flame is showing up, is being called end flame. And also I wanna see print string set lifespan to 0.1. Whatever. And let's see what happens in the actual game. What the hell was that? Why did it rotate it all the way? Found flame cylinder. Okay. No end overlap. Then, shit. On overlap ended, end flame, on overlap ended, and spawn flame cylinder. So after overlap ended, as I said, after overlap ended, for some reason it still detected an overlap and spawned last freaking flame cylinder, which is behavior that I didn't expect it to happen, and I don't know why it is like that. That after the overlap from wind actor ended with that actor, it still for some reason called out begin overlap after ending. It is like some weird freaking thing. Let me also maybe see flame base. But we know that it is exactly what is happening. So the one thing that is left to do is I should be able to detect that, okay, for some reason, because I don't know the reason why, a function that should be called after before the function of beginning overlap is called after end of the overlap. It just makes no sense. It seems like some engine error, but probably isn't. It's just I'm doing something stupid. And something is happening on Discord. Dev with me is also live right now. Good to know. Good to know on Discord. By the way, I'm always forgetting about that. I should create an invitation. Yes. A set next link never expire. Yes. Here's the Discord. Connected to my streams. Okay, we have this thing going on. We melted our thing, and for some reason, yeah, end flame on overlap ended, and then we are spawning. After overlap ended, we shouldn't be able to freaking spawn anything. It should be like, okay, done. And just one frame happens be there that spawns this thing. Like, I don't understand why. On begin overlap gets called for some reason. Unless, wait a second. On begin overlap is not being called. I think I know what kind of mistake I made. Let me quickly check this. Print string, blah blah blah. I think I know what is happening. Let's quickly do it once again. Right, and component begin overlap. That is an interesting. Look at that. Ah, but it might be called on different actors on level or something. Okay, then never mind then. Yup, on component begin overlap isn't being called in here. So, I think my error is with the fact that I'm also spawning on wind interaction. Yeah, I think I know exactly. Spawning on wind interaction. That is also being called on end of overlap, right? So even though I just called, but the order of functions shouldn't be like that, because what happens is, okay, on wind overlap ended is being called, despawn flame cylinder is being called, and then I guess this is being called, like immediately. And it is being called not from begin overlap, it is called from on wind interaction, right? So I think what I should do is add another function on wind overlap begin. And yeah, Toby is back and he says, now my table is covered in sugar. Oh no, you will attract ants and other critters. On wind interaction, okay. So let's make more space for that. Implement event, yep. And implement it here. And also, just like on wind interaction, it should add. This kind of thing. It might fix that if I like divide those two things. Because then even if on wind interaction gets called, it should not. But it's still weird. Because that thing shouldn't be called. Ah, but it is called in here. Okay. Never mind me. I'm just being a Dumbo. Okay. On wind overlap begin. And I'm getting this here. And it should theoretically fix my problem. Let's see. Yep, it did fix the problem. Yep, it was the problem of order of functions and the fact that I'm using two functions that could spawn potentially my flame cylinder, both on the begin and the end of overlap. So it was my error, not engine error. The only thing that is weird is that the last rotation doesn't happen really. So my thing is not really there. So there's also the other thing, like I should see what the current wind is, right? Because I only get the wind of the last update. What I should do is in my flame cylinder, in my flame base actually, add another function called for just rotating the cylinder, or unwind interaction. Okay, let's just create a new custom event. Let's just call it flame cylinder wind interaction, and let's add input the same as this in all actuality. Yeah, pass by reference. And just rotate that son of a bitch. Because that's kind of what should be happening. Like on spawn, only spawn, and then just rotate that guy. Right, so it should be more like this. And we should connect it like this, our rotation and everything, set actor rotation. And let's remember to call that event. I think I can delete safely this print string. And flame cylinder on wind interaction. And now it should take all the rotation into the account. Yep. I have some weird bug on my propeller. One day I will QA it. Okay, so now let's get back to my metal crate base, and once it reaches the maximum, which we will go into finished, the temperature timeline, and we never stopped. I found a bug. Once on flame stop overlaps, it should first go to stop, then delay, and only after delay start reversing. And here it should be the same way. I should hook up a sequence that should first also stop, because it might be reversing, and then play it from that point on. Yeah, that's exactly how it should work. And then let's add reroute, and let's create custom event on max temperature reached. And yeah, let's call that on max temperature reach. And let's just set lifespan. For now, let's just make it, you know, not show up. Toby says it's quieter than I remember. The cotton machine? Cotton candy machine? I'm not even sure if I know how it sounds. It's been so long since I approached that. And why? Oh, okay, it disappeared immediately. And okay, so we got our flamethrower. It took like roughly 3.5 hours and a little bit of talking in the meantime to do that. And we kinda sorta make object disappear. And I got 9 minutes of stream, so I can dedicate this to figure out why the fuck my metal melting looks the way it looks, which is not correct. Where is the... Okay, I am in the metal crate base, and... multiply that by, I don't know, 30. Let's make it really emissive, right? And then let's fix the issue of it being like white immediately. Okay, but it's like ping, and it's immediately white. I don't understand why. Meanwhile, if I completely unhook my emissive, it will go through the colors. Toby says it has a big piece of iron spinning in the middle, and it's a miracle it passed the safe. So it just vibrates, and the internals aren't exactly well held in place. And I am suspecting the wires inside broke again. Oh. So it seems like you have a lot of fixing on your end. And now let me once again just spawn the cylinder flame and work in simulation on that. Because it goes through those colors super quickly, so let me change the length to like, I don't know, 10 seconds. It's supposed to be super fast in the game, but you know. And where is zoom to fit? Okay. Toby says fixing the heating element is such a pain. I bet. I bet. And how do you fix that? Do you like... Yeah, how do you fix that? Do you like replace the whole component, or... What do you do exactly? But it's cheap. Yeah, fixing stuff yourself is cheap. Although sometimes it is pain in the butt. It is weirdly jumping, like ping, doing like a jump. But that's kind of how I wanted it to go like to red, but maybe it might be too much steep of a jump. Okay, so let's stick like in the 0.1. What is the value of that? Let's stick in that point like a this divided by 2, like a half. And what the hell happened? Okay. Okay, I don't get it. I wanted to divide 0.9 almost by 2. And put it in 0.1. Wait, what the hell is even happening? Okay, I don't want to have this point. Okay, now it looks more normal. Something weird just happened with the curvatures. And now it's more like it. Okay, at least from the color perspective, right now it is better. Let's figure out in the last 5 minutes, if I'll be able to figure out what is going on with the emissive. I'm cooking up the emissive. It immediately becomes white, which is not exactly what I wanted. Toby says the high resistance wire probably just broke, and as it's supposed to be high resistance, you can usually just twist it together and hope the vibrations won't break it. Oh, and probably unplug it before opening it. I almost did the same mistake as last time. Oh yeah, it can cut off a couple of pieces from you, right? Okay. Oh, now it is a little bit better. I just plugged it like that. I just remembered something. Oh my god. I just remembered something. How to set up all the emissives, etc. I'm not a graphical person and I'm suck at the artist. That's why I fucked it up. Okay. You should set that color up. Emissive should just be whatever I want it to be. But it's the color value that should be like over 1. So whatever happens here, multiply by float, I don't know, like 10. And that's what you should set it up. I completely forgot the whole workflow. No, it immediately goes into white. What the flying fuck? I kind of forgot how to work with emissives. I'll be honest. Completely forgot all of that. But what if I turned off the metallic? Beep. Yeah, I completely forgot how to work with emissive. I'm sorry. Well, it's been so long since I set up any basic material. That's what happens when you don't visit a certain topic every now and then and you just work in one domain over and over that you forgot the basics of anything, really. That's why you should often practice stuff. Okay, and the last attempt for me is like what even the fuck? Toby says it's such a genius design. The screws are filled with sugar and I can't stick a screwdriver in them. You need like an air pressure to remove that or something. And okay, let me just, I don't know, maybe play around with that. Okay, let me try to make it like a red. Right now I'm just throwing shit at the wall and seeing if it sticks. But nothing really happened. I must have set up something wrong. I have no fucking clue what I'm doing right now. Yeah, I need to remind myself, how the fuck do you work with like that? I completely forgot how you work with emissives. Like completely no memory. And I worked with that beforehand. That's why I'm kinda cannot let go of this thing, but and I know I worked with it because I actually set it up. Actually, I could take a peek at my own fucking stuff, right? Like I have this shark arrow, etc. And I have regular arrow, just... Let me remind myself, how the fuck do you do this? Emissive strength. Yeah. You don't hook up base color. I forgot about that. So I could have just used that material. And I think I solved the issue here. Let's plug it in here. Yeah, I forgot. I completely forgot about all of that. I need to revisit it on the next stream to fix that, but I really want to just have like a quick win here. So I will steal a couple of minutes and yeah, I just need to set projectile color and emissive strength. That's it. And it will work. I completely forgot everything. Wonderful. Metal cream. And emissive strength, and it will work exactly how I wanted it. It's funny that I hooked it up like almost a year ago, and I remembered back then, year with no graphics, and I forgot. So yeah, it should work right now. And it doesn't. What is going on? And here it works. What? My bow projectile, yeah. Oh, of course, because I not only have to set it up here, but also set it up here. Of course. Now We're in the money. That's what I wanted from the start. And boom, disappearing. Ah, fucking finally. Oh my god, it's so embarrassing that I forgot. And as you can clearly see, that I knew how to work with that and I completely forgot everything. That's what your brain can do, and that's on some real shit. If you don't, you know, touch something and don't touch a certain domain for a long time and you don't train, that you might forget everything about that. And that's why practice makes perfect. Okay, it is the end of my stream for today. Toby says, either fix it or broke it worse. I'm kinda the same way right now at the end of the stream. I have to go back and finish the visual things in here, but yeah, it took a little bit longer time because of you know, of course, talking, but that's not a problem, because of my stupid ass errors, which is, you know, what happens in development. You make stupid errors and then you're trying to find out what was the problem. So yeah, that's what is going on. That's what we went up to. And next Sunday I will be streaming at the same time as usual. And I think I'll be just getting back and adding more things to the toy box here. I think I'm kind of done with the flamethrower. Maybe do a little bit on the visualization side of things. And add like some sounds to it or whatever. And yeah, I think that's kind of it for me for today. So I hope you guys have a great day today and a great next week. And see you guys next time on Sunday next week. So bye bye. Hey.